This is a barbell RDL, a great way to target the hamstrings and the glutes in a lengthened position. Before I get into the setup, just pay attention to that 3 to 4 second eccentric with the pause at the very bottom. For the setup of that bar, I like to have it elevated right there, so all I have to do is pull it up and then walk it out. It makes it a lot easier than lifting it right off the ground and also reduces your risk of injury on the lower back. It's not completely necessary, but I strongly recommend it because it makes it less fatiguing and again, less risk of injury. I'm also using a weightlifting belt and some wrist straps. I'm using that weightlifting belt to improve bracing and also protect the lower back. And I also like to position that weightlifting belt just slightly lower than I would when I wear it for a back squat. Also use some wrist straps, that way you're not limiting yourself by your grip strength. For the feet, you want to position them just right underneath the hips. For those hands, place them to where that index finger is at the middle of the shin. Whenever you are setting those wrist straps on that bar to get your grip, just put your feet in the same width as you would when you're doing the movement. Bring those shins all the way up to that barbell and get those hands in the right position. Whenever you have those wrist straps set and you have that index finger in the middle of the shin, go ahead and lift it up, squeeze that core, brace, walk it out, and get in position for your first rep. Right as you're going down for your first rep, take a good breath, push it into the stomach to help with bracing, and initiate that movement by pushing the hips back first. Keep those knees loose and try to keep the weight on the heel and not on the front foot. If you're doing this correctly, the knee should not be going forward as you're going down. As you can see right here, it's either staying in the same spot or going slightly backwards. That way you are not using a lot of the quadriceps to do the RDL. As you're pushing those hips back, make sure you're pushing those hands into the shins. You want to make sure that you are grazing the shins all the way down. That way you're getting good length into the hamstrings and the glutes and not working the quadriceps. You should feel the lats working as you are pushing that bar into those shins as you're going down. Also, you're going to want to stay within the active range of motion of those hamstrings and glutes. So basically stopping to where those hands or the bar is in the middle of those shins. As you are going down, there will come a point where the further you go down, you will no longer feel an additional lengthening of the glutes and hamstrings or a stretch. That means that is the end of the active range of motion, and like I said previously, it's typically around halfway on the shins. At the very bottom, shoot for a 1 to 2 second pause. We're trying to train the hamstrings and the glutes in a lengthened position, so at the very bottom where the bar is halfway down those shins, we want to make sure we get some tension and a pause right there. As you're going up, make sure you're keeping that core tight and trying to press through the heels and not too much with the front of the foot. As well on that way up, keep that bar nice and tight along those shins and the thighs. Also pay attention to the bend at the knee. I'm getting about a 20-degree knee bend. That way I'm getting some tension in the glutes. The straighter you have those legs, the more hamstrings you are working. However, I want to also target the glutes while I'm doing this one, so I'm going to have a slight knee bend. If you're doing it with those legs completely straight, also known as a straight leg RDL, you're breaking more of the hamstrings, but just choose one and stick to it, whether you're doing the straight leg RDL or this one right here to get some glute focus with a 20-degree knee bend. At the top, we're not extending that back out completely. We're stopping right where the chest is still over those knees. Like I mentioned at the beginning, take a 3 to 4 second eccentric on that way down to help control the movement and get a 1 to 2 second pause at the bottom. This is going to increase time under tension and also make sure that you are able to push those hips back, nice and controlled on that way down, and get a good stretch on the hamstrings and glutes. If you are not feeling it in the hamstrings as you're going down, you're likely going down too quick and using the lower back versus the hamstrings and glutes, or you are letting those knees go forward as you're going down, putting more tension on the quads. The hamstrings are a fast twitch muscle, so we're trying to keep it in the lower rep range, anywhere between 7 to 12 reps. Once you're done with your set, walk it back forward, rack it, and go ahead and take that belt off to improve your breathing while you recover. Lastly, make sure you are keeping that chin tucked in or that head neutral with the spine to avoid putting strain on the neck or the back. Let's grow those glutes and hamstrings, and you know what to do. Like and subscribe, please.